Good to go.
Good. Okay. So my topic is genetically modified foods in the food industry. My major claim is genetically modified foods, or GMOs, have a negative effect on our society. Genetically modified foods, or GMOs, are crops whose genes have been altered in order to resist certain climate changes and insects. But GMOs have been traced back to very severe health disorders, so severe that 26 countries have banned GMOs completely. If the majority of the world's developing nations, such as the European Union, Australia, and Japan, have shown opposition to GMOs, why won't the US? So I'm going to attack this major claim with three secondary claims. First being GMOs have a serious environmental hazard. The second one being genetically modified foods have been linked to horrible health risks. And the last one being GMOs have been bringing serious economic concerns. Okay, so the first one, GMOs have serious environmental hazards. So the Institute for Response Technology, or IRT, has stated that GMOs can cross-pollinate and their seeds can travel. It is impossible to fully clean up our contaminated gene pool from GMOs and organic seeds. GMOs pollution will outlast the effects of global warming and nuclear waste. The potential impacts are huge, threatening the health of future generations. So this affects farmers who want to, they want to grow organic crops. Then let's say their neighbor grows GMOs bought from Monsanto or another company. The wind will throw their seeds to their neighbor's crops, the organic fields, and there really is no way of knowing which one is organic and which one is GMO. Most GMOs are engineered to be herbicide tolerant. That's the deadly weed killer. This is really bad for the environment because it creates super weeds that end up changing their genes in order to resist these weed killers. So what that ends up happening, it affects the GMO crops and it affects all the crops next to it because there really is nothing that can kill them anymore. So then what happens is that the companies end up creating more and more and more deadly weed killers that are really bad for the environment and really bad for the health of people. Okay, so the nation has been shown that insects are fast developing resistance to these herbicides, resulting in even more massive infestation by new superbugs. So what happens is that the bugs that eat the crops end up, just like the weeds, they end up getting, creating the resistance to the herbicides that are supposed to kill them. So in the end, we get superbugs that can't be killed, and they're just eating crops like crazy, which is not really what GMO crops are supposed to do. They're supposed to be promoting crops that can be destroyed, and in the end, they're creating more problems. Genetically modified foods have been linked to horrible health risks. That's my second claim. So a sharp rise in autism and food allergies have been linked to GMOs. The nation has reported that GMO corn has been found, GMO corn that pregnant mothers eat have been found in their blood and in their baby's blood when they're pregnant. So this just shows how bad GMOs can cross. It's a food that affects your blood too. So the CSA has reported that many children in the US and Europe have developed life-threatening allergies to peanuts and other foods. And it's been a sharp rise since the 90s when GMOs were actually brought into the market full on. A recent article published by Lancet examined the negative effects of GMO potatoes on the digestive tract in rats. This study claimed that there were huge differences in the intestines of rat-fed GMO potatoes and rat-fed unmodified potatoes, so organic potatoes. My last claim is GMOs bring serious economic concerns. As the statement of 81 members of the World Future Council put it, while profitable to the few companies producing them, GMO seeds reinforce a model of farming that undermines sustainability of cash-poor farmers. 270,000 farmers in India alone have committed suicide between 1995 and 2012 because of GMO crops. They have to keep on buying more seeds, and they have to keep on buying more weed killers. So in the end, they end up going bankrupt and committing suicide. If you control the seed, you control the food. If you control the food, you control the people. This is a quote from a woman in Hawaii who was fighting against GMOs, and Hawaii isn't the only one fighting against GMOs. Argentina has done it too. In recent news, Argentina has just now begun to realize this. After a 4-month fight against Monsanto, Argentina announced that Monsanto must halt construction of a new field due to complications. So that one was from the Nation too. And so my conclusion would be genetically modified foods are bad for the environment, human health, and the world economy. Thank you.
6 minutes, 6 seconds.
All right, Gerry, the propositions clearly identified at the beginning. I thought you had a good layout of the material at the start and some definitional issues that were relatively clear. So a good start. Internally, I thought you did a good job signposting your secondary claims as you got to them. You did need some smoother transitions, though. It just seemed like my second point is, my third point is, and I wasn't even sure that you were done with the previous point. So you need to, like I said, develop a little bit of transition language. That's a communication issue that'll help make it easier for the listeners. The biggest issue that I had is that frequently I'm getting information from you that sounds like it might be evidence or might be a quote, and I'm not getting any source citation on it. And so you make a claim, for instance, about the herbicides being, or the weeds being herbicide resistant, and another one about pest bugs being, developing resistance. And I'm sure that you did research on that, and you may even have it, and that may be what you're quoting, but that's not what you said, and it just sounds like it's claimed. So I don't know if it's some authority who's reached this conclusion. If you've got any example or research to support that, that's a little bit problematic. And that happened in several places in the speech. There were a couple of places where you did cite an example, like the European Union and their attitude toward GMOs, or you had a quote from an organization talking about some worry that they had. I wasn't exactly sure who this woman in Hawaii was who was talking about Argentina and why I should be listening to her. That was a little bit vague. And I may have misheard, it's just one of those things, numbers sometimes go by. How many people in India have killed themselves because they're GMO, because of the farming issues? Do you remember what the number was that you said? 270,000? You're saying 250,000 people killed themselves because of GMOs. I got to know where this information comes from and what it's based on, because, that's a lot of damn suicide. And, you get more people killed from the suicides here than you do from a typhoon or a hurricane or something like that that's going on, tsunami. Now, I know it was a 20-year period that you're talking about, but still, that's more than 20,000 a year, even then. And that still sounds like a lot to me. Like I said, you're going to have some strong explanation of where that data comes from, and it's not in here. It's just a number that's presented. All right, thank you.